Welcome to our Probus community for a brand new Probus talk. We have a very special show for you today with, of course, our co-president, Renee Procenko, a very special guest, Dortha Hise, who specializes in automation, AI, in all things innovation. And of course, I'm your co-host, Carolina Billings, co-president of Probus. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for
Hi.
having
Hi,
me. Hi.
guys. I'm so glad we're doing this segment with you, Dortha, because you've got a lot of really great information to share with our members. And I know from talking with a lot of our Probus members that being the fear of being scammed or taken advantage of, or emptying our bank accounts is a real one. And even though seniors may think they're a vulnerable community, the truth is it's happening to all people in all ages. So it's something we all need to be aware about. And with the holidays coming up, this is a prime opportunity to share some great advice with our members. So I'm really happy, Dortha, that you're here with us today.
Thank you so much, Renee. I'm really grateful to be here. It's a great conversation, and I agree, very timely and important conversation to have.
Absolutely. And you know what? With the holidays, and the holidays being like from Black Friday to Christmas, right? There's so much more marketing material that is arriving via email, via links, via everywhere with hot links, right? Click here, click here. And some appear to be like the real deal, especially with banks, right? Like they are one of the your account has been compromised, or do this or do that, and they give you a link. And I would like to remind our community something that Renee just said. This is not just a senior thing. So if we must group it within our demographic, like 50 plus, right? We're all equally vulnerable. And, it's every day the bad actors get better and better and better, especially using AI. And there's been a general changing attitude from banks, and we're going to talk about that. But Dortha, you've shared with us, aside from being a professional in the industry, although you're not in cybersecurity,
I am
you
not.
you do work lots in with automation, and you and I, in full disclosure, collaborate in our campaign to better the world. But you had an experience with your dad recently. Could you share
Yeah.
that with us?
Yeah, actually, it was a multiple attempts, and some were successful kind of situation, and it was with his bank. First of all, my dad's a vet, and he has gone through like very great lengths to have the benefits that he gets because he was in the military, and he has certain things that he has to do to stay active with his membership and his benefits and all the things. And he kept getting these emails saying that his account had been compromised, or like he had authorized something, and he didn't know any better. So he clicked it because it was from his bank, right? So from all, this side of the computer, he's like, well, it's from my bank. Like it looks legit, like you were saying. And so he clicked through, and sure enough, whatever ended up happening on the other end of that click, his money was taken out of his account. And this is somebody who lives on a fixed income, right? So he is very, very mindful of like, I have this much to spend every month, and I know when I can spend this and when I can do that. And so it was just like soul crushing to me, because he really had to go to bat and like fight to get his money back. Like you were talking about some of the attitudes from the banks changing. He was experiencing that firsthand, and it was incredibly frustrating. And it didn't happen just once. It happened more than once. And it happened with him for the online portion of his VA benefits. Like he was trying to get online, and it kept telling him he already had registered. And he's like, no, I haven't. And so he's gone down to the VA in person several times and like had to jump through multiple hoops. And thank goodness there are really great people in some of these spaces that are like, they will grab you by the hand and like walk you through all the things. And that's something that my dad in particular needs, because, he's not tech savvy. He gets very frustrated, and he gets down a rabbit hole, and then he doesn't know how to get out. And so it's really nice to have, to know that he can go like to the VA or to the hospital there or whatever, and there are advocates that will help any vet in need with anything that they're working on. For example, he just told me yesterday, this is a sidebar, but he's getting counseling as a result of going to like one of the programs that they have. So, not related to security, but it's, just like the fact that they have those things in place.
Yeah.
I
Sorry, go ahead, darling. Go
Well,
ahead.
I was going to say that I'm amazed. I was reading an article about a woman who got scammed because she was trying to sell a blouse online through a specific app or program.
Yeah,
And then outside of that app, somebody sent her some money, an e-transfer. And it was clicking on that
yeah.
they had access to her bank account,
I
and
was
she got.
thinking of that one of those examples
Yeah.
specifically. So
Mhm.
one way that you can bypass that is that you set up your account on auto deposit. So anybody that sends you money, you don't have to click on any link. It goes straight to your bank, right? And if you don't know how, you can go to the branch and just ask them. All you need is an email address, your current email address, so that you get notified. But the branch can set it up for you on auto deposit. Because I had a garage sale, and actually, I don't do it often, but as anyone following my saga, I've been trying to sell my house for, it's only been like 3 months this season, this spring. But anyways, we'll continue with that because that's another good exercise or entertainment to follow my saga. But I was having this garage sale, and people kept shopping online for my garage sale because I had put some pictures, and I kept getting texts saying, "Oh, is this bench still available? Let me send you an e-transfer so you can reserve it and I'll come pick it up later." I was just like, what? Like, is that a thing? And that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going, "Oh, okay, yeah, of course, I have an ad for something and somebody's sending me money." Yes. But yet you click on the link and you have to put your information to claim
Yeah.
the payment, right? And that is what we're talking about. Yeah.
And I was just going to say that if you're in doubt about any transaction, email, anything that comes in, even a transfer like this, I never click a link in the email. I always go to the site. As soon as I see something like that, like I got something from PayPal that said
Mhm.
600 and something dollars was set up on a recurring transfer from whatever for this transaction. And I was like, what the heck is that? It looked so legit. I looked at the footer. It all looked completely like every other PayPal email I've ever gotten. And I was like, I'm not falling for this. So I went to PayPal and I looked it up and I was checking all my subscriptions, like all the things. None of it was real, which means I probably, when I clicked it, would log into PayPal and that would have given them access.
Yeah, and Renee, you're really the champion behind our brand new ticketing app that is coming up. And in a roundabout way, that provides more safety to our members because they're not having to send money. Because sometimes if you send it to the wrong email address and somebody kind of like your cute for the password and whatever is somewhat easy to figure out or super hard, like we've experienced. People sent us transfers, Dortha, they're adorable. They sent us e-transfers and the password is like, "Where was I born?" It's like, I've got no, I got like 195 countries and God knows how many places that I can, kind of like guess. But tell us about the new app. And I know Dortha will be like right into it because this is up her wheelhouse.
Mhm. Well, it's a new. Well, it's not brand new. It's new to Probus.
Mhm.
This app actually specializes or came to be through sport clubs, pickleball clubs, and racquetball clubs, and so it's. I love that it's Canadian. A fella started it in Nova Scotia, and he's set up a wonderful, simple to use system where we can have in place for our members to go through in a safe, contained app and buy their tickets, reserve tickets. And on our end, if we know we can only fit 150 people at a specific venue, then it automatically shuts off ticketing for that event so we don't oversell tickets. So it's so without that app, we're
So there's no
constantly counting.
passwords or transfers or anything like that, right? Like you go and you kind of click purchase and it's all in one place. And so when are you beginning to test it in the new year?
Well, I didn't know we would be speaking about this because I haven't been trained on it yet. We're actually getting trained on it tomorrow. So I plan to unveil it at the upcoming general meeting.
Right.
So hopefully I can answer a lot more questions. But yeah, we plan to have it ready to go for the general meeting and to have our carols by candlelight tickets continue through that new system.
Wow. So I'm sorry I let the cat out of the bag, but I'm glad I let the cat out of the bag because it's like around the corner. So, Dortha, you see it online a lot. You and I are a little obsessed with keeping up with anything AI and online. And we're seeing a lot more AI being used during all these fraudulent activities. People calling, and this happens a lot with seniors, people calling, faking the voice.
Yeah.
Faking the voice of a relative. And where do they pick up those voice samples?
Oh my
Like
God, it's
for
creepy.
them to put it, pardon?
It's creepy. I
I
think that they do
know.
it from like videos online, and like they troll it, and then they use the AI tools that you can use to create clips, right? I mean, it's terrible.
So
It's terrible.
wait a second.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that somebody can watch a short little video online of
Mhm.
a pool party or pick
Yep.
up the voice of somebody,
Mhm.
knowing it's your grandson?
Mm-hmm.
Then AI takes that voice and you can make it say, "Hey, Grandma, it's Jimmy from
Mhm.
Ottawa. Grandma, I'm
I'm
in
in
trouble. I
trouble.
need some
Mhm.
money."
Yep. That's exactly the specific example that has happened. Yes. And it
Yes.
sounds completely legitimate. And then there are others that are a little bit more, they're still nefarious the same, but they will leave a vague voicemail like, "Hey, it's Susie. I need help. Can you please call me back?" And it sounds completely like, I know Susie, right? Like I have a friend named Susie. So it makes you
Well,
go down this rabbit hole.
mhm. And you're right, it's general enough. And I've been fortunate that I am so careful with things online. And if I get anything, as Dorothy said, if I get any kind of communication from the bank, I will not interact with that communication. I'll go to the bank, or I'll go to the main website that, from my computer or whatever, and follow it from there. But I've had situations where I'll sign, say, a new client, because almost all my clients are online and they're all over the world. But it's a new connection that I've made, and we've had, kind of some frequent things. And it has not happened on LinkedIn, but it has happened on the Meta, platforms, where they get an email or a text from me asking them to buy gift cards for me, that something's happened and that I want to buy these gift cards, and if they could purchase them, like some convoluted kind of transaction. And it's embarrassing because the person doesn't really know you that well, that they just started doing business with you, right? And you're like, no, that wasn't me. And luckily this person was super smart, where they got contacted from one of the Meta platforms, and she reached out to me from LinkedIn, from another platform, and said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I just got this message from you. Was this you?"
Yep.
And I said, "No." Like, and then even if you say no, you don't know if they believe you, right? Because you're like, no, trust me, it
I
was not me.
swear.
It is. I'm telling you, if they could give a PhD for being the evil in a Batman movie, there's geniuses out there that are manipulating and bending technology for this. But it's not always some unknown actor away. A lot of women and a lot of men get defrauded through romantic apps, through
Exactly.
dating apps, and where they'll encounter a person that they begin. And a friend of mine did meet this one gentleman who was Canadian but working overseas, and they must have had communication for 2-3 months. And then it was a situation like, I can't quite remember the story, but he was now coming home, and he was in an accident, and his accounts were frozen, and I just need, $500. Like, it wasn't something like she would have, whatever, right? But at this point they were sort of kind of like dating a little, right? And the minute that happened, her flags went up, and it's like, no thank you, goodbye, right?
Mm,
Anybody that asks in senior, especially 50 plus, are losing money to romantic connections or online connections by the millions, by the millions. And many are like in Dortha's dad's story, like he told her, so she's able to say, hey dad, do this, do that, or make sure, show me, or whatever. But
yep.
when it happens like along these romantic, dating websites, or connections, or even charity, like anything, right, that the person that's been the victim feels ashamed, like they may not tell anyone. And
Well, and
meanwhile, be out money. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
that's really sneaky. Like, for them to really reel you in emotionally
Yep.
through hey baby, and building that adrenaline and
That trust.
excitement, and that's not good.
Trust. Hmm.
Well, I have to say, I owe my husband an apology. And it's not because I've been on a dating app, but it's because
You didn't
he
send
has
him money
been,
when he asked.
no, it's because he has been asking me to use. So we have a credit card that has only $1,000 limit on it. And then we have the other credit cards. And he says, whenever you're buying something online, use this card so that if somebody gets a hold of it, they can only ding us for, 1,000
Hmm.
max. They can't
Mhm.
Yep.
run wild, right?
Mine is
Yep.
500 that I have
Yep.
Oh,
set up
yeah.
at.
And
And
I
it's
don't
what I mean,
listen.
you gotta constantly be paying it down, right? But it's worth it. And some banks are a lot more lenient than others in what transactions they let through. In some banks are a lot more supportive whenever you put a chargeback, for example, right? I had another instance that it was a SaaS, service, service as a subscription with, that's not what SaaS stands for, but I can't remember this very second. But it was a subscription that I used for my work, right? That I was paying like something like $49 US a month, and they changed their policy. And I was paying a year because I would save, like $49 a month, or 19 if you buy the whole year, kind of thing. So I would buy the whole year, right? So they changed their policy, and instead of being something like $250 for the renewal, it went up to like 2,500 because they had eliminated that membership, and now they switched it. And it's an app that you and I use, Dortha. So I'm like, what? Like, are you nuts?
Wow.
So I phoned the bank right away, and they're like, well, it's a subscription. I'm like, yeah, but not for this amount. Just like, like that's not right. And I had to
Yeah.
fight with the bank to put the charge back. Then I had to fight with the company to reverse the charges. Right. So
Grief.
it's just like we're all so busy, and we get so much communication that is easy for something to sneak in.
Yeah. And I
True.
think we're also like, there's so much inundation from all the things that we become a little bit numb to things too, right? Like something will come through and you're like, oh, yeah, I'll deal with that later. And then
Yeah.
A, you probably never get back to it. But B, by the time you do, something like what you're talking about, Carolina, or worse, right? Like something, some kind of a breach of something has happened, or funds have been taken or misappropriated or whatever. And that's when like real harm has been done. And it's very unfortunate. And I know you mentioned this in the beginning, but it's very unfortunate that we as the consumers are now having to be like this aggressive, like, having our arm out around our stuff to protect ourselves, because it used to be that you felt like your bank was on your side, or like they would.
They've lost so much money. Like
I
now,
know.
when you log in to, and actually Renee, we got to bring somebody from the banks to speak at a general meeting about safety online. Like, but I think they've just lost so much money, and people have been somewhat careless. Like if, they've come back and said like, oh, your PIN was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you had contributory negligence. So you're, too bad, so sad, right? And they're devastating. And it's usually the people that can afford to lose it the least. And I don't like the alarmist kind of postings and like danger, danger, don't eat these, don't do that, because we're all like already shaking from everything that gets sent our way. But when I see these stories that people have been like especially vulnerable, that they've been defrauded like 100,000, 300,000, a million, like it's their life savings.
Or their
They need.
retirement funds. I read an article in the Wall Street Journal about a woman that ended up completely depleting their retirement fund because of whatever, and I can't remember the exact circumstance of what she got taken for, but it was one of these situations where, and that is literally their life savings. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Just terrible.
absolutely.
And don't you
Absolutely.
think like we need better something? I know we're in different countries, so I don't know exactly what to call it, but we need something better to go after these bad actors, right? I feel like we are having to put up more of ourselves and like be more protectionist and vigilant. And I'm a fan of that. And I've always advocated for that. At the same time, I also feel like these banks coming back at the people who trust them with their money and trust like all the things. There should be something that can be done to try and prevent and like thwart the bad actors.
Absolutely. Especially with AI. If they've got the technology to reproduce someone's voice, come on, people. You can,
Yes.
the Visas, the PayPals, the banks, all of you big actors where your CEOs are getting these big fat checks. Why
Billions
don't
of
you put some
dollars.
of that money into AI and protect all of us with that
Yes.
technology?
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, ladies. This was, we don't mean to alarm anyone. It's really a cautionary, conversation. Just be diligent, be careful. And if something looks funny, go to the bank. We're blessed that, in Markham, we can swing our purse and not hit every single branch of every single bank in our neighborhood. Yeah, like imagine for rural people, right? So if something looks funny, you go to the bank. They are happy to help you. They're super helpful. And just be careful and be diligent and set up your auto deposit. That's the call to action. And have the bank set it up for you. Don't set it up yourself. Have the bank set it up for you.
And I like your suggestion, Carolina. We will bring somebody in. Maybe we'll do a workshop, an afternoon workshop after one of our general meetings, maybe in January.
Or
We'll
even
bring
a
a
panel.
professional.
A panel where we have different people from
Mm.
different banks and
Yeah,
have
That
them
would be
all.
good.
They all love our business. They all love our service charges. So, they also got to help us keep our money safe
Yeah.
and have a victim-less holiday season. So, thank you, everyone. Dortha, a pleasure. And until next time, bye.